So, that's true. I shouldn't be questioning you. Of all people.
So, dude, I'm worried calibration because I found that like it's a lot of Bluetooth as well, so it's messing with calibration.
Yeah, that's great. That's why the E3 demo was so bad for Skyward Sword.
Yeah, that's why Nintendo stopped going like doing things at E3. Dude, like look at this. I have to keep having to recalibrate like every time I shake the remote. Such like, yeah, that's scary, dude.
So, as a reminder, guys, we do still have two main donation incentives going on. We have the Rick Dangerous speedrun, which is still a $1,000 goal, and we currently are at
10 seconds.
$50 out of 1,000 for that.
1,000 is way too ridiculous for that. It should be like 300.
We can reconsider the amount, but you guys got to get donating first. And in addition to that, we have the Soundscapes casual percent of the extra albums. If you would like to see Kiera play through all the other albums in a casual capacity, that is a $500 incentive, and I believe we're at 50 at the moment.
Dark Souls, which is a totally realistic goal. It's only $50,000.
Guys, if we're naysaying our own donation incentives, then how are we going to get people in the chat to get hype, huh?
It's a win-win. You'll make Uber Goose very sad, and you'll get to see Dark Souls.
Not even close. No. Oh, sorry, we dropped it, yes, but it's still not close. I'll give an update, 1 sec. So I've been reminded of a couple of the other incentives that we have that you might want to be aware of. There's the Naglaria head shave incentive, which you have a comparatively short time to try to meet. That is also a $1,000 incentive. We did lower it, and that is currently at $350.66. And finally, while Test Driver gets started, he's just talking to this NPC to get going. There's also Dark Souls. If you would like to see Dark Souls run during the bonus stream, buy Uber Goose, possibly a race against Cuddy, to make them both hate themselves. That is a $50,000 donation incentive, and we are at approximately not even close to that.
We're at like 2,500.
I've maintained my position.
So this is Skyward Sword Hero Mode, which means that you take double damage and there are no health drops. So this is the health I'm gonna have for the rest of the run. It shouldn't be too scary. This right here, this is horde battle. This is probably by far the most difficult part of the entire boss rush in hero mode. That is. There's one little tricky trick coming up pretty soon. Hopefully I get it. Otherwise, I'm probably gonna take a lot of damage. But we'll see how it goes.
Like in boss rush, you want to get this first though, right?
Yeah. Well, normally you do. You can start with anything you want. After the first one, it's random. Though we noticed there's some sort of certain kind of patterns. Like there's certain like sequences of bosses that usually happen. I don't know why. Oh, this is no good. Scary. I accidentally despawned the Bokoblin, so my setup here doesn't work. So we're gonna just kind of guess. No, I failed. That's fine. Oops. One hit left. I miscounted. I thought that'd be enough to kill him. One thing I'm just a little concerned about, just in the run in general, is calibration. Normally, calibration's fairly good for like for something like this, but there's usually a lot of wireless interference in rooms like this, which can really mess it up. But it's been pretty good so far, so hopefully it'll stay good. So this is probably one of the most annoying RNG fights in the entire thing, which is when you're supposed to skip. Basically, there's a ton of bombs, which just makes this like, impossible to do. Ideally, you can just spin attack this guy off the edge, but like him charging you is like random, and camera's amazing. Yeah, this game's got like one of the best lock-on systems ever, as in. So I'm just gonna kind of do this slowly. You can kind of do this combo here, and just like it's the same as like I call it the Wind Waker combo because that's like basically most of Wind Waker combat. You just kind of keep them in a stun lock. Oh right, I forgot. Usually you usually do a skip here, and the cutscene's not where I thought it was. It's like right here. Yeah. That's fine. Yeah, for those who don't know, if I sound really groggy, it's because I'm extremely tired right now.
How long have you been awake?
I actually just woke up, which is kind of the opposite problem. But I think I was up for like 34 hours yesterday without knowing. Yeah, I was just like, oh, apparently it's already tomorrow. Dodging those arrows to not get hit is actually really difficult. It's a lot harder than it looks. The hitboxes of Link is pretty huge for those arrows.
How much time does Sword Skip save?
About a minute.
That's it?
Yeah, it's not huge. Like, you basically only skip that Boo Bokoblin fight, so.
Oh. Whenever I saw, like, Bananas on stream, she always made it seem like a much bigger deal.
Yeah, she does that a lot. Yeah. But the blue fight was pretty bad, so I lost like another like 30 seconds from that too. But if you do it right, you can pretty much kill that blue Bokoblin like instantly. He charges you and you just spin and attack him off the edge.
So now it gets random.
Yeah, so now it's random. The only exception is the final boss. Unless you choose him, Demise will always be the last fight of Void Rush. Another interesting thing is Demise doesn't show up in normal mode. He only appears in hero mode. So while it's 12 bosses in hero mode, it's only 11 in normal mode.
So you just did Horde first just to get out of the way?
Yeah, because it's probably the one I'm going to take most damage on. I honestly shouldn't take damage on any other bosses that aren't intentional. If I'm feeling gutsy, then I'll take some damage on Koloktos and maybe some damage on Scaldera. Yeah, this is the... Yeah, so in this game, they take away all your pouch items, so you have no bottles or medals or anything, which is why I only have 18 hearts right now. 2 of the hearts are medals. But you still have the Master Sword, which is 4 times as strong as your Goddess Sword, which is the sword you have when you fight that boss. So that boss gets, like, completely destroyed. There's one other boss gets destroyed, and that's Scaldera, which is the giant fireball boss.
Yeah, like kind of precursor to the Dongo boss.
Are you pretty much immediately able to tell which prison you'd be fighting just like from the starting where you spawn, or? How early could you tell which prison you'll be fighting, or does it tell you?
When the fight starts. So there's actually 3 imprisoned fights, and they all look very similar, but the strats are different. So I have to like recognize which imprisoned fight it is immediately.
Yeah. So do you have any like visual cues to tell you which prison you're fighting?
Each imprisoned fight actually looks different. So like the first imprisoned he has no arms, and second in prison he's got arms, and third in prison he's got a tail. But you actually can't see the tail from where you start. So the big difference between the second and third one for me is the time it takes for Goose to show up. And in Prison 3, Goose shows up immediately. In Prison 2, it takes a while for Goose to show up. It's really unfortunate because in Prison is the worst boss of the game, easily. And they make you fight all 3 forms of him in Boss Rush, which is kind of silly.
At least they're not one of
Yeah, there's going to be some random order. And Prison 2 is by far the most difficult of the 3. And Prison 1 and Prison 3 are kind of a piece of cake. It's kind of weird, though. They actually forgot a boss. They forgot the Levias fight, which is actually one of the more difficult fights of the game. Particularly, it's got some really cool tricks. So, if we have time, which it's bonus stream, I assume, yeah, I can just go and do that right afterwards.
Sorry, which one is Levias again?
Levias is the giant, like, flying whale.
The windfish.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that one.
Sure.
Oh, God, yeah. That one was...
Oh, what the heck is this
really
camera
fun,
angle?
but really frustrating.
That was weird.
I was playing casually.
For some reason the camera got like inverted while he was like flying up the jet. Oh, I should talk about stamina a little bit. In Skyward Sword, basically the way it works is rolling apparently is faster than running, but only by a single frame. So, and it uses a ton more stamina. So pretty much I'm never gonna roll around the place. That should be fine, yeah. The only exception is when I start from rest, roll gives you instant max speed, while if you run, it takes some build up. So I always when I start from rest, I usually always roll, and then I just run the rest of the way. If I was doing a full run, it's actually kind of interesting. A big part of the run is just stamina management and all the optimization and movement, so that's pretty cool. There's like some really cool tricks that with stamina that I'm just not going to do in boss rush, just stutter sprinting and like stuff like that, and delayed sprint or whatever. I don't know if there's a term for delay sprint. I just made it up, but it's a thing. Yeah, I actually got that from running Super Metroid. When you are walking from rest, whether you're walking or running, your like startup speed is the same for the first few frames. So it doesn't really matter, but when you sprint and waste the stamina, so if you want to conserve stamina to make your sprint go a little bit longer, then you like walk for a couple frames and then you start running.
Now that I think about it, Levias might have been too difficult to put into a single map. Like, it's a huge area. They may not have been
I
able to...
suppose, maybe. I mean, you play it
you're
normally in the
basically fighting
game.
him in an overworld area. Whereas, there's boss areas for the rest of the might have been a technical limitation.
I think the Levias area is actually a separate area from the normal Thunderhead. I should take my watch off. Forgot about that. So yeah, this guy, you're supposed to use Skyward Strikes in this guy, but you can just use charged arrow shots. Skyward Sword runners disagree whether or not this is intentional. I'm pretty sure it's not. Regular arrow shots don't work, and you ask Fee, she like basically tells you to use the Skyward Strike. So I don't know.
I think it's probably just like a damage factor thing. Like the game checks for how much damage something is doing. And
Oh, whoops.
the charge arrow just happens to do that much damage.
Yeah, it's possible. Yeah, the charge arrow does a lot more damage than the uncharged arrow. Actually, for those who don't know that, the bow in this game is ridiculous. It's like so strong. It will pretty much one hit kill most enemies in the game without any upgrades. I actually had the upgraded bow right here just because it's like a 100% file, but it doesn't really make a difference, honestly. It just charges faster in terms of like in terms of like a run goes. The extra damage isn't really that big of a deal because it already just one hit kills like everything in the game without any upgrades.
Yeah, and in like just a regular 80% run, it wouldn't be worth it to upgrade because it would take so long.
Yeah, you don't upgrade any items in 80%.
You upgraded 100, right, though?
No, you don't upgrade anything. Oh yeah, 100% you upgrade everything.
Yeah, I think that's actually part of the 100% definition.
Yeah, it is.
Upgrades.
Yeah, the 100 definition is.
Is it that the game considers an upgraded weapon to be a different item, or?
I mean, it replaces your item, but I mean, 100 definitions are always arbitrary. I mean, it's just like kind of the community decides what it is. But
Yeah.
Unless the
It's
game
a
has like a
percentage
percentage.
counter.
Yeah, unless there is a percent counter, in which case it's still kind of arbitrary. Like for
Yeah.
Super Metroid, there's 100% items and there's 100% map.
Yeah.
And like the Prime games, there's like 100%. Oh, whoops.
And in Soten, there's like 200,000%.
Oh yeah, well Stoden, the max percent is very silly. Besides the fact that the two castles have separate percent counters, or like they add them together. All right, so I jump
Try
off the
head
edge
shots.
here because there's like tentacle phase and the eyeball phase are separate, and when you jump off the edge, it like syncs them up. Also, the air shot's really tight. It's like it's not the timing is very close.
So you don't get any chance
this
for
time.
Yeah, if you miss that shot, you get destroyed by those. You have like probably like 0.2 seconds to get that shot off or something.
Yeah, like
I was talking about the health refill. You don't get any health refills at all.
Oh yeah, there's no health refills at all. So yeah, but I shouldn't really take any more damage. If I'm feeling gutsy, I'll hurt myself during the Koloktos fight. But since this is a marathon, I feel like I probably shouldn't. Yeah, some of the boss fights, or I say a lot of boss fights have strats where you damage yourself to speed up their AI or something.
So is the removal of your adventure pouch something that's only on the hero mode boss rush?
No, it's like that in normal boss rush too. Now, boss rush actually has a stupid thing where a lot of the bosses are slightly different than the actual play. So some of my strats are a little messed up, like this one. In boss rush, your sword is always sheathed when you start. Oh, come on. Worst RNG. That's fine.
Yeah, so Girahim has some RNG with the darts that he shoots out. And just when he chooses to shoot darts at you, when he chooses to give you an opening or attack in such a way that you can counterattack.
Yeah, well, you can actually manipulate his AI.
Oh.
So what I did is you can like get him in this lock where he like blocks, and it has to do with the way you move and how you're locking on them. I can't really explain it that well. But the enemy AI is like what they do is RNG, but it's also based on where you're standing relative to them, where they're standing relative to the wall, and whether or not you're locking onto them. So you can kind of manipulate their, like once you get them in the right spot, you can kind of manipulate them and just basically infinite them. So this is a boss I would normally damage myself on, but I'm not going to bother. So yeah, you notice all my items are gone too, so it's kind of like a Wind Waker with the boss rush in that game.
Yeah, I think it just gives you the items that you would have had up to that point.
Yeah, exactly. Oh cool, I didn't get trolled by RNG. So this guy has like the dumbest collision. No one understands why, but sometimes if like certain rocks, like the way the rocks break, I guess is random. I don't know. And if you get like unlucky like breaking patterns, then his eye is like completely invincible. If you had a good pattern like this, then he just gets destroyed. So yeah, in boss rush you kill up 2 cycles. Your sword's way more powerful. The normal run you would kill him in 3 cycles would be, but getting 3 cycles is actually kind of difficult. Getting 2 cycles is pretty easy. What was the thing before that? I don't remember.
Me neither.
All right, that'll probably come up.
There was the eye collision, and then there was the items.
Oh yeah, that collision's
Oh, yeah.
stupid there. Yeah.
And I don't remember.
In 100% when you play this game, you actually have to do boss rush, but you have to you stop at 4 bosses to get the heart piece, and you stop at 8. Okay, he dismissed me. That happens sometimes. He's a jerk. Come on, thank you. You also stop at 8 for the Hylian shield, but you don't ever do all 12 bosses, even 100%, which is kind of the reason why this category exists. This guy is like really bad at hitting me. I don't know why. So I got kind of unlucky. Well, it's not really unlucky, it's my own fault, but I got kind of unlucky with well, hopefully I do it here. You want to go like slow enough that he will charge attack you like right when you, and then he'll give you only 2 slashes here. Yeah. If you do it right, he does 0, but you have to be able to do all vertical slashes consistently, which it's hard to do when your calibration's off by a little bit. So this is actually kind of a cool fight. You can kind of there's this cool little strat here. Most runners use a slightly different strat here, but it's basically the same thing. I think it's like slower by about like 2 or 3 seconds. So basically how it works is you can get a Skyward Strike in if you're far enough away. And the Skyward Strike does damage, but his AI doesn't recognize when it does damage. And Gura, like a lot of bosses, for the last phase, he has only 1 HP remaining. So if you can do 1 extra damage without the boss realizing, then you can kill him in the next cycle. Oh, that was dumb. So yeah, the first attack, he'll always hold the sword vertically, and the second one, either does it vertically or horizontally. Oops. I always instinctively just hope it's vertically, but sometimes he does it horizontally, and I just like, ooh, let's screw up. It's not really a big deal because you shouldn't really get hit there. Although it's pretty scary. Like pretty much most of the bosses at this point are gonna do 4 hearts of damage. I have like 8 hearts right now, so.
Wait, what happened to the rare treasure that you were promised?
Oh, that's if I stopped at if I stopped at the previous one, it would be rare treasure. But I didn't stop, so yeah, it's like a can't stop like risk reward thing. So yeah, you can stun these claws with claw shots. The timing of these slashes will that's Skyward Strike. I might have fucked this up. He's too far away from the wall. Okay, I got it. That's scary. Yeah. That was a good fight. Yeah. Basically the way it works is you're supposed to only get 2 slashes in, but if you wait between the first and second slash, it lets you get 3 slashes in. I don't know if that was intended or not, but it's like a weird thing that you like. I think it's like has to do with the animation of his pain animation. But if instead of doing 3 hits, you can, for the 3rd slash, you can instead just do a slingshot to stun him. So this is probably gonna be like imprisoned, I assume. So this is in prison too. So I need to count the number of steps it takes. So the way it works is on his 13th step, he'll do this thing where he climbs at the wall and you can knock him down and it wastes a ton of time. So what you're gonna do is if you make this cutscene happen, it'll override the cutscene from climbing the wall. So you have to hit him like right as he's finishing his 13th step. The timing's pretty wide, but you have to make sure you don't mess it up or you lose a lot of time. Uh-oh. Okay. Yeah. Calibration. Yeah. And Groose is supposed to start showing up when he climbs with the wall, but he never climbed at the wall, so Groose just automatically goes like once he's gone past a certain point.
Strategies good for AGDQ as well, right?
Yeah, I use this. Almost all the boss fights are the same as any recent times. Oh, what the heck? I messed up my patterns apparently. I'm very confused. Oh, it's fine. That was fun. So there is a faster strat right here. Instead of waiting for him to get up, you can stun him and then, but you do this tricky trick that I don't really feel comfortable doing in a marathon, so I'm just not gonna do it. Oh, so I'm doing here is we don't have a name for the trick, but every time you shoot the bomb, there's like an animation that you watch the bomb fly through the air. But if you hit cancel like right after you hit shoot, then it completely skips the cutscene and you can run around. There's a few places where it saves time, particularly in Prison 3. I didn't talk about that, but that was a thing.
Goose cancel?
Yeah, Goose cancel. I don't know. It's I don't know how wide the window is. It's probably like 2 or 3 frames. I don't know. it's pretty easy. I don't know. This game runs at 30 FPS, so like input wise, like small frame things are pretty easy to do.
Yeah.
There's a few things in the game that are like down to 1 or 2 frames that you have no like visual or audio cue for, and those really suck. You basically just mash and hope you get them.
Chat suggests bomb cancel.
Oh, bomb cancel? Oh, okay. I'm alright with that.
Good job, chat.
Great chat.
Although if it was a Zelda community, we should probably call something like Ultra Hyper Bomb Cancel Deluxe Edition. And then come up with an acronym for it. So this is in prison 1, which is kind of a dumb one. Sometimes I fall down and it's stupid. I don't know. The thing is, in a speedrun, you don't even fight this guy. So I don't have any strats for this guy. I just kind of go.
Do you fight the other forms, or
Yeah, you fight the second and third one.
Okay.
Yeah, you don't fight the first one. So I don't really know the best way to fight this dude. And I don't really do this like category. This is kind of like a racing thing that we do occasionally.
It doesn't even have arms. It can't be that hard.
Yeah. So something to talk about. So normally
By the
people
way, he
fight
looks
this
hilarious.
guy. The most obvious thing to do is
Looks like a
you
plushie.
run up and you cut his toes off. Come on. You get to run and cut his toes off. And then when you break all his toes, he'll fall backwards, and then you can hit the spike from behind.
That's so sad.
Yeah. But the fight takes forever, and after the first in-prison fight, the second and third in-prison get really difficult to do. And the third in-prison, you're just like, it's terrible. You're gonna have you're not gonna have a good time. And I think a lot of people don't like this fight, partly just because of that, and they just don't know that you can just jump on his head and then just skip the toe cutting thing.
Yeah.
But every time you do it, as you go through, he like reacts faster and faster, so you have like less time to jump on his head. And he was not where I expected him to be. Where is he? You actually, I think I had like landed on his back and taken damage, which is kind of weird. Yeah.
Kirby
damage,
Master
maybe?
would like you to know that he's disappointed in your failure to achieve new records on the last 2 fights.
Wasn't my finest. Yeah, so the times on here are like, they're not mine. I don't know. I just grabbed, I think like the 100% file that's just like for practice or whatever. So all the best times on here are just kind of arbitrary. I think some of them are like an hour or whatever.
Yeah,
It's like,
the one before this was 59 minutes and 59 seconds.
yeah. So this is, here's where the Thunder Dragon is displeased. That was not your finest. No new record. No new record. Alright, so there's 2 more. I think this is was a Clockdos, and then Demise.
Demise is always last.
Demise is always last, unless you choose him. So there's another boss that's like supposed to be really random, but you can heavily manipulate where he goes. Unfortunately, oh yeah, that's what I was talking about before. I remember now. So yeah, in Boss Rush, a lot of the fights are slightly different. In particular, your shield is sheathed at the beginning of every fight. Well, screw this. Come on. Okay, yeah, there we go. Yeah, that's a strat you only do in Boss Rush. You don't do you don't do it in 90%, but whatever. Anyways, your starting position is different. In particular, you usually start much further away than normal, so which is kind of annoying because in a lot of like I said, most bosses, their AI is determined by your position relative to them. So if you start far away, it like messes up all their like normal 90% patterns. So if you want to practice this game for like speedrunning, don't practice through Boss Rush because most of the bosses are going to be like different. Some of them don't really matter, but yeah. But yeah, this one, like, I started further back, so he started with a swipe at me. But sometimes he can throw the boomerangs at you. And the boomerangs is the worst thing he could do. It wastes a ton of time. But that was pretty much as good as a boss rush Koloktos can go. Blech. So this is I'll probably do it once. I'll damage myself once, I think, because I have so much health.
Hey, look, a sword.
Yeah. So you can do verticals and horizontal strikes, but they like have different ranges, and a lot of times the horizontal slashes are faster, but when you do them get too close, then they swipe right through them like you just saw.
It would be so cool if you could wheel those with your button.
Yeah, so it's weird. You kind of have to like try to like move yourself while doing the slashes. So he has this like weird spin swipey attack thing he does. If you get hit by it, it stops immediately, so it saves like what, 10 seconds or something. Timing, yeah. So yeah, in a casual playthrough, this is probably most people's favorite boss. He's kind of like, oh cool, he like uses his own weapon to destroy him and stuff. But after you beat him once, he's the most boring boss in the entire game. It's very frustrating in speedrunning because he's by far the longest fight.
Doesn't stop from being cool the first time.
I suppose. Yeah, I'm gonna damage myself here. Like so most bosses they normally do 4 hearts of damage. That's a pretty weak attack, so it doesn't really matter. So I don't really care that I took 1 damage, I have 6 hearts anyways. So in a normal run I would hurt myself twice, but he has a chance to spawn a second set of both golems here. It seems to be completely random as far as we know. But he didn't do it, so I'm happy. Like I said, most bosses, like I said, they have certain AI patterns based on like where you're standing, but they are still random, even though, or if there isn't like some randomness, it's like some very, very like minute positioning stuff that's like not really controllable. So like even you have some setup for some strat that consistently gives you a fairly good pattern. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes you get trolled. But yeah, that boss in particular is very heavily manipulated, so to make him go much faster. You can fight him normally, that like they're trying to be quick without manipulating him. The fighting can go a minute or 2 longer. He has some very slow attacks. All right, here you go, final boss. Yeah. It's good. AI is kind of messed up because it's horde or boss rush. Oh, started over. Didn't count. Oh, dude, he hit me.
No.
Yeah, that was a rough start. Like it's normally fine in a normal run, but it's messed up because it's because it's the boss rush. You know? This whole AI pattern is like messed up. So yeah, you can kind of destroy this guy if you know how to manipulate his pattern correctly. And time. Yeah. All right. So I guess technically still underestimate. Just barely. Yeah, if I didn't mess at the beginning, that fight would easily have been under 30 seconds. It's a really, really fast fight, probably one of the shortest ones. And yeah, when you're beating all 12 bosses, he gives you every rupee in the game. All the rupees.
All the rupees.
Okay. So, I don't know, do we have time for me to do some little bias, or? Okay. Okay. Huh? This will take like 4 minutes.
Cool.
This is just
He's just showing off the boss
the
fight.
boss that's missed out of Horde Rush.
Look.
Boss Rush. I keep calling it Horde Rush.
Levias percent.
Levi's percent. Wait, is there? Okay, there it is. For a second, I did think I had the pump. I did make sure I had a good file for this. So yeah, this is a file from the speedrun, so you see way fewer hearts. Oh, so now I should mention about the shield, because I used the shield for that boss fight. The different shields do the same thing. In casual percent, they all do different kind of like weaknesses or whatever. But in a speedrun, a shield bash is invincible against all attacks. It doesn't matter what kind. You can shield bash fire attacks with a wooden shield. It doesn't matter. So even though I had a Hylian shield, it was completely meaningless. I could have used the wooden shield for that fight, and we would have done the entire boss rush with the same thing. In a speedrun, you get a wooden shield right at the beginning of the run for free. Whoops. You get a wooden shield right at the beginning for free, and you can just use it. You keep the same shield through the whole run. Hopefully I don't die here. I only have 4 hearts. Well, if I die, I deserve it, so it's my own fault.
I forgot how Gustav Holst the soundtrack is.
So yeah, this is probably probably one of the hardest fights of the whole game, which is kind of weird that it's not in boss rush just because it's just so difficult. Both casually and in the speedrun, it's probably one of the most challenging. Demise might look really difficult just because it's a lot of sword slashes that are, you have a lot of directional slashes that you have to be pretty precise on, but it's honestly not that difficult to fight once you practice it for a while. Alright, robot. So this is why the reason why this fight is hard. Just see for a second. It's mainly because you're standing on Levias and he's moving, and it gets really tricky because it screws up your calibration like crazy. So hopefully it'll stay the same. Okay, so there's actually 2 phases to this fight. This first phase is to run around and do a whole bunch of nonsense, but you can just do an AoE attack or area attack on that little blowhole, and the second phase will just pop out. But the first phase is still loaded, and the second phase is not, so he's just invisible. Oh boy. Okay, so I messed that up a little bit, that's fine. Oh, that's not fine. I'll take my shield off. The stupid shield. Shield cursed it. I don't know, you want me to do that again, or is that the end of everything?
Do you have to go all the way back?
I think it respawns you here. Oh, okay, that's not something.
Yeah, it's fine.
Although he's in a weird position, I don't know what's gonna happen now. That was my own fault. I have no excuse except for being bad and tired. Oh, get on. I might need to place it. Okay, good. Sometimes the spin attack can be kind of annoying to get in. It's based on how he's tilted left or right. So if it doesn't work quite right, then you need to throw in a. Oh, he's turning here. He's turning. Okay, I got him. Although it didn't really save any time. Yeah, so a lot of people really get kind of confused by the fact that he's just invisible, but what am I doing? It's fine. I always wondered if it's faster to do that and just kind of wait. Yeah. See, when he's turning, it makes it really difficult to get those shots in. Particularly since he's invisible, so it's a little hard to get the shot in. You're supposed to be a giant eyeball. So a lot of fights kind of just memorizing the pattern, and then this end part is the oh, stop turning, dude. Oh, yeah, the calibration's not crazy. This is like the worst possible pattern in terms of calibration and the turns. All right, whatever. Good enough. He's dead. Alright, well, thanks for letting me do my terrible playthrough. that fight there is really annoying just because it's yeah, like when he turns the calibrate, it like messes up the calibration in the shots, and you're not used to use the arrows there, so they didn't even test the calibration there. So it's supposed to be fine. You just use a sword to slash things back at him, but when you do things you're not meant to, things kind of go wrong. But yeah, and because I died, the second pattern had like the worst possible pattern, so yeah, whatever, nothing to do.
All right.
Cool.
So we'll be heading over to